Formula One is the apex of motorsport, and over the years, fans have witnessed spectacular battles, comebacks, controversies, and superb driving. The most recent, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, where virtually everyone choked on their own breath. Ayrton Senna's pole run at the 1988 Monaco Grand Prix, and Nigel Mansell's GP Championship victory at Silverstone in 1992. These are just a few of the sport's greatest moments. There's so much that we've compiled a top 10 of the most iconic events in F1. Stick around to see if one of yours made the list. Number 10. Abu Dhabi GP 2021, the 2021 Championship Decider. While the 2021 season sparked a heated debate about the finale feeling too much like a Hollywood script, the rivalry between seven-time world champion Lewis Hamilton and young up-and-comer Max Verstappen was action-packed until the very last lap. When a late accident brought out the safety car, Hamilton kept his lead while Verstappen pitted, putting many lapped cars between them. However, Mad Max said, "Nope, not today. I'm going to beat you. The whole world is going to watch." Verstappen passed Hamilton on newer tyres, and while Hamilton fought until the very last corner, Verstappen won his very first championship title. Number 9. Hamilton's final lap tyre failure, British GP 2020. Lewis Hamilton entering the last curve of his home race in first place is a common sight, but at the 2020 British Grand Prix, images of fireworks and exploding champagne gave way to clouds of sparks and cracking Pirellis. With only a few circuits remaining, the Mercedes pit crew held their breath when Valtteri Bottas punctured, and all eyes were on race leader Lewis Hamilton. Just as Max Verstappen, who had pitted for new tyres, would take second place, Hamilton's tyre blew out on the penultimate lap. Verstappen was closing close on the hobbling leader, but Hamilton could drag his Mercedes past the line with only 3 decent tyres to win. Number 8. Max Verstappen, an F1 wonder, Brazil GP 2016. The fans dancing and shouting with delight at the finish of a fantastic Brazilian Grand Prix was one of the lasting pictures. They had earlier booed and given the thumbs down as 2 red flags and 5 safety cars threatened to ruin their afternoon. They were a study in utter anguish. But the most vivid recollection is that of Max Verstappen and his stunning charge through the pack to finish third. It was one of the great Formula One performances, and for a prolonged effort in such difficult conditions, it must rank with the greatest from Ayrton Senna and Michael Schumacher. Verstappen tried his tyres and brakes on numerous lines during the long laps spent behind the safety car, while his opponents channeled Goldilocks, with some moaning that the track was too wet and others suggesting to get on with the race. Sensational passes by Kimi Räikkönen and Nico Rosberg in the opening half of the 71-lap race, split between red flags and safety car intervals, put the youngster in second place, fewer than 2 seconds behind Hamilton. Verstappen fell behind after nearly spinning into the barriers on the long, sweeping uphill run after the lap, but he still managed to stay ahead of Rosberg. That rescue maneuver was 50-50 chance and competence. Verstappen's daring maneuvers have made him a divisive character in the paddock. Sunday's Brazilian Grand Prix was the best show we have seen all year. Number 7. Lewis Hamilton World Championship 2008. While McLaren and Lewis Hamilton fans will remember this race for Hamilton breaking several records, the race itself was a genuinely memorable way to cap a championship year. Hamilton was 7 points ahead of Felipe Massa before the race, which meant that the Brazilian needed to win the race, while Hamilton finished 6th or below to win the championship. Everyone but Timo Glock pitted for wet tyres, and Hamilton slid to 6th place after running wide and being overtaken by Vettel. It appeared like he would fall at the final hurdle again, as he did in 2007. Glock was unable to acquire any traction on the last lap, which was fortunate for Hamilton, since Hamilton was able to overtake him on the final bend and claim 5th position and the 2008 World Drivers' Championship, a terrific end to an even better year. Number 6. A championship hunt in the wet, Japanese GP 1976. Heavy race day rain spoiled Formula One's Japanese debut, and the contentious decision to run with the race was met with strong complaints from teams and drivers. Niki Lauda, who was scheduled to complete his incredible comeback from a near-fatal accident just 6 races earlier, stopped after 5 laps in the dangerous circumstances, which meant James Hunt only needed to finish 4th to win the championship. Hunt drove to the limit of his tyres and stormed to the lead, but was forced to pit when the track began to dry. However, working from 5th place, Hunt passed 2 cars in the final 3 laps to win the championship by 1 point, which he didn't even realise until he got out of his vehicle. Number 5. F1's closest finish, Monza 1971. Even while modern F1 fans are used to races being won by wide margins, this wasn't always the case. Many years ago, cars could closely follow one another and navigate turns using alternate routes without veering off into gravel traps. The cars may compete and pass one another. It was the heyday of Formula One. The 1971 Italian Grand Prix was notable not just for reducing the closest finish in F1, but also for various other reasons. It was the fastest Grand Prix in 32 years, with an average speed of more than 150 miles per hour. This amazing race was won by BRM's Peter Gethin, who came from 4th on the penultimate lap to win by 100th of a second over Ronnie Peterson. The top 5 finishers in the 200-meter men's sprint final in the Beijing Olympics were separated by more than a second. Number 4. Michael Schumacher and Jacques Villeneuve, Spain 1997. Many consider Michael Schumacher to be the greatest F1 driver of all time. Of course, not everyone agrees, but his record-breaking streak is unparalleled. In 1997, when sharing the championship lead with Jacques Villeneuve, Schumacher was involved in another incident when his adversary tried an overtaking maneuver. There was no question on this occasion, Schumacher purposefully sought to take Villeneuve out of the race, even flipping the vehicle to the left before driving in and smashing his Ferrari into Villeneuve's Williams. It didn't work, as Villeneuve finished in the points and secured the title. At the same time, Schumacher, who was first exonerated of wrongdoing by track stewards, was called to face the FIA and was later removed from the championship, leaving him with a bad taste in his mouth. Number 3. Nigel Mansell's 1992 Grand Prix Championship win at Silverstone. In 1992, Nigel Mansell had a very good championship-winning season. He won the 59-lap race for Team Williams-Renault in the 9th round of the 1992 F1 British Grand Prix. There was just one man in the race, Nigel Mansell, who dominated the British Grand Prix from start to finish. Nigel appeared to start from pole position perfectly, but then suffered some wheel spin, allowing Patrese to come level on the rundown and take the lead into the turn. Nigel Mansell won the championship from pole position, led every lap, and set the fastest lap of the season, shattering Jackie Stewart's 27-race record. Fans flocked to the Silverstone course around Mansell's vehicle as 3 future world champions, Michael Schumacher, Mika Häkkinen, and Damon Hill, gazed in awe. Number 2. Gilles Villeneuve and René Arnoux bang wheels, Dijon 1979. At the 1979 French GP in Dijon, Gilles Villeneuve and René Arnoux combined for 2 of the most ferociously competitive racing laps ever seen. Before Arnoux took second place, they often changed places, collided, drove alongside each other through curves, and overlapped wheels. The expertise and steel nerves necessary to drive like that are indescribable to us mortals. It's best to sit back and marvel. Number 1. Brabham's push to the finish line, United States GP 1959. Prior to the last race of the season, Jack Brabham, Sterling Moss and Tony Brooks were all vying for the championship. Only after Brooks dropped down the order owing to an incident with a colleague and Moss retired early due to a gearbox issue did Brabham have to finish the race. On the last straight, with the title on the line, Brabham's car ran out of petrol. While the rest of the race was still far behind, drivers passed to take the podium spots. Brabham strengthened his hold, knowing that all he needed to do to finish 4th and win the championship was to drive his car over the finish line unaided. Which one of these moments is your most iconic, and which ones do you think we left out? Comment below.